Hey Hugs, just a reminder before you get into the show that we have merchandise, yes, and you can find it on our Ugly Truth website. There's a little tab, you can click on it, and then you can peruse to see all of our styles. You can grab a mug or a sticker. We have hoodies and t-shirts, pretty much anything you would want to show your pride for being an Ugly Truth listener. Thank you so much for supporting us. Enjoy the show. Welcome to The Ugly Truth. This is episode 517. Ugh. Hello, everyone. Oh, I'm Jamie, and this is my sister Stephanie, and we're here to talk Ugly Truths. Just so you know.
Why did you have to?
I don't know. Sometimes I do that in case if you're new. I don't know. Maybe you're new and you don't know what this is.
Do people listen to podcasts not knowing anything about them?
Yeah.
Oh, for
Sometimes
real?
they'll go, "Oh my God, you have to listen to these two sisters. It's like having your own sisters. You'll love it." And then they'll go, "Oh my God, I'm obsessed." Or they'll go, "What does that even mean? What does Ugly Truth even mean? I don't understand. What are they going to talk about? Politics? Like, what is this?"
No.
You know, so you have to kind of sometimes. So I'm just saying.
Got it.
We're just two siblings who have a podcast and we talk. And you would love it if you were part of our lives. I'm just saying. So that's why you like our podcast. Okay, so speaking of...
well, because our life is like your life probably in some way.
Totally. We just say things that you're thinking and you're like, I have thought that before, but I'm a really good person, so I don't want to say it out loud. But we'll say it out loud for you. You can be like, listen to this! This is what I meant!
They said it.
Yeah.
Or if you don't have a sister to talk to, maybe these are things you would.
I feel sorry for women who don't have sisters. I really do.
I mean, I feel sorry for me because I don't have good parents.
I so don't relate to people who have good parents. I don't even know how that works.
I don't relate either, and
it's weird.
So I feel uncomfortable talking about parents,
right?
Because I don't have anything to say.
I don't have much good to say. I mean, I'm glad I'm alive, but whatever. Anyway, So speaking of trauma, I have very weird, vivid dreams.
As do I,
and I know you do too. And Daryl rarely does. Sometimes he does.
So weird.
Well, because he's a little more at peace in life,
I guess. Yeah.
And although he has had trauma in his life, it's not. They were incidences versus a long childhood.
Right.
So he's a little more healthy.
That's
I think
good.
when it comes
I envy people
internally.
like that.
Oh,
yeah.
I know. So anyway,
sleep is not a fun thing for me.
Now I will say that the last month has been pretty difficult. He lost his father, his stepdad, but still he calls him his father.
Basically his dad. Yeah.
He credits him for the man he is today. A lot of the things that he credits to his father-in-law or his father.
Very fortunate.
My father-in-law.
Yeah.
So it's been difficult. So it's not surprising that he's a little off. So the other day we're sleeping. And all of a sudden, he starts yelling in his sleep. He's like, "Oh!" Like he's yelling. He's not making any words. He's just like yelling, like almost like he's like a warrior running to kill something.
Oh, geez.
And I'm asleep.
Did it wake you up?
And what woke me up was apparently we must have been touching at some point in the night because we were facing each other. And he violently grabbed my arms and was pulling me.
Oh, geez.
And I was like, whoa. I woke up out of a dead sleep. I'm like, hey! And it's like I like hugged him.
What is there, a fire or?
I don't know, but it was light, so it was light outside. Luckily, well, it was like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whoa, and I grabbed him, and I'm like, and he was not waking up, and he was like pulling on me, and
my
so
goodness.
I like bear hugged him, like I laid over him, and I'm like, hey, it's okay, and he woke up. He was covered in goosebumps.
Aww.
And he finally woke up, and he's like, what did you do? And I'm like, what did I do? What did you do? And he's like, what's going on? I'm like, you tried to grab me in my sleep? And I'm like, and I don't know what's going on. He's like, I am so sorry. I go, honestly, I was just trying to desperately wake you up so you didn't hit me or do something that would have caused harm. He's like,
what is going on?
I would have felt so bad. I'm like, well, I would have felt bad. It would have been terrible. But anyways, that never has happened before. Ever.
That's weird.
So I was not going to ask...
Like what were you dreaming
about? Because obviously it was something scary.
Yeah.
And so I did not ask. It literally hung in the air the whole day. And finally...
And he didn't say?
Well, he was kind of alluding to things here and there. He's like, well, the power was out and we weren't in our house. And it was like there were movie boxes and it was really, really dark. And I was like, I gotta find out why the power is out. He goes, so I'm walking through this house and it's like I'm in a hallway and there's boxes. And then I see a guy with a hoodie on his head, like a hooded guy. And I saw him, so I started walking toward him. And then he grabbed my arm and then I started to fight.
Oh.
And that's...
So he was...
he was so somebody had grabbed him, so he was grabbing back, and I happened to be the one. And he's like, maybe, he goes, were you touching me? And I'm like, no, I was asleep. It was 5 a.m. I'm not awake at 5 a.m. for anything.
Right?
So no. So he's like, oh my God. And he goes, it was like, it was real, but it wasn't. And I'm like, oh yeah, I totally get that.
Totally get it.
So of course, me, there is a psychology to dreams.
Supposedly,
There's a lot.
yeah.
I mean, you can believe it or not. I take some of it truthful because I think it's subconscious.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like spiritual in that way. I don't think of it in that way. It's
not
more,
at all.
it's more psychological.
Absolutely.
And so
yes.
I did look up his dream, the parts of it, because then there's another one I had, and it was very, very upsetting. So to dream that you're in the darkness, or that it comes on you, like the power went out on him.
Yeah.
So to dream that darkness comes upon you signifies failure in some work that you're attempting. Darkness is synonymous with ignorance, the subconscious, evil, death, and fear of the unknown. Consider also what unfamiliar feelings or thoughts may be breaking into your peace of mind. To dream that you can't find someone in the dark signifies that you need to keep your temper in check. That's not him. It says you have a tendency to let your emotions get out of control. No, that's not him at all. So ultimately, what was really interesting is, obviously, or seeing an intruder is also considered, I didn't write it down for some reason, but seeing an intruder is more like you're grasping with something that you can't control. Obviously, the death of his dad and the upcoming service.
Yeah.
Which,
unknowns.
When this drops, it will have already happened. Obviously, that's on everyone's mind. We're all preparing for it. So I'm sure that's a lot of what he's going through. But it was so real to him. He's like, oh my God. I'm like, well, Jesus. And so then we woke up the next day, and he's just like, well, no attacks. I'm like, it's been 1 day since no incidents. It's been great.
It's been a banner day.
So then earlier that week, I had this horrible dream that I was brushing my hair and my hair was falling out in clumps.
Oh, I've had that one.
You have?
I've had. I told you I have that one. I have the one where my teeth is falling out.
Yeah, I've had the teeth falling out one a couple of times, but I had never had a dream about my hair falling out when I'm brushing it. Now, I have...
Or washing it. I've had both.
Really?
Yeah.
That is so weird. Well, you want to hear what they say?
Yeah.
To dream that you're combing or styling your hair suggests that you are taking on and evaluating a new idea or a way of thinking. You may be putting your thoughts in order, getting your facts straight. A more literal interpretation suggests your concerns about your self-image and appearance. I think that's mine.
Most likely.
To dream that you're losing your hair denotes that you're concerned with the notion that you're getting older and losing your sex appeal. Oh. You're preoccupied with aging and your appearance. Losing your hair also signifies a lack of strength, and you don't have the power to succeed in an undertaking. No, I think I'm vain, and I think that I'm obsessed with getting older.
I think mine's a little of both.
Well,
because I have treaded in some new territory this year, and
that's true.
I often question myself privately, like, do I know what I'm doing?
Yes,
can
that's
I handle
true.
this?
You're right.
What are people thinking about me? Whatever.
I think mine is I'm afraid of getting older.
Yeah,
like I went through some significant stress this year. Well, we all have been under stress, but I had some pretty stressful times about a month or two ago, and I started, like, my hairbrush was full of hair.
Yeah, mine too.
And I was really upset about it.
You sure it's just not from us bleaching it so much?
No, because I only bleach my hair once a year.
Yeah.
I actually only do highlights once a year, so I knew it wasn't that. I mean, I didn't think it was that. And I did tell my hairstylist, I'm like, could it be that? And he's like, it could be. So when he was there, I was telling him about how much hair I was losing, and I was really concerned about it. I said it could be, like, I thought I was using too strong of a ponytail. I do a lot of messy buns, and so I stopped doing messy buns. And then
I limit my ponytails too now.
Yeah. So I just was
I'll do them, but I used to do them like literally every day.
I would do them all the time. And then I'm like, well, maybe it's just not good because it does break your hair.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm going to stop doing that because I do have broken hair.
Yeah, me
so
too.
I'm like, maybe that's what it is. And then I was like, but if this is hormones or getting older, listen, we've all seen the women who are bald.
I don't want to.
Or they have that
one.
super thin because they have an unbalanced somewhere in their body, thyroid or whatever, and they have no hair or very little hair.
Thin, yeah.
And I said, I really don't want that.
Yeah.
And if that ever happens, I will definitely get a wig.
And by the way, my hair is kind of thin anyway.
We have thin hair anyway, so I feel like I can't spare
it's super
any.
straight.
I can't spare square.
I know,
nothing.
honestly.
So I started taking vitamins because I'm concerned that,
I bought some.
I have to tell you, I think I'm just a little obsessive over the hair thing, and it's causing bad dreams now.
Yeah, it could be.
And I don't know if I'm being vain or if I'm just really afraid of I'm really afraid of hitting menopause. I'm not kidding. I'm so afraid that I'm going to turn into some little Humpty Dumpty asexual human.
Oh my God, no, you aren't.
I'm terrified. And of course, Paul is like, get the fuck fucking hormones. Just do it. And I'm like, I'm not ready for that. I don't need it, actually.
And not only that, but I have a friend who swears she got breast cancer from that.
Some people do.
Yeah. Don't do it. Don't do it.
There is the likelihood if you have the BRCA gene or whatever. But also, I get my hormone levels checked every year because I'm so terrified. He's like, Jamie, you're fine. Your thyroid's good. I'm like, all right.
And it's not a thing that just happens overnight like a switch.
No.
It's gradual.
It's gradual.
So if you were having any kind of an issue, they would already know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm pretty sure my libido, and I always tell Daryl this. I'm like, I'm pretty sure my libido has gone down. He's like, really? Well, how? I don't understand. Nothing's changed. I'm like, well, I feel it. It takes me longer. And he's like, oh my God. He's like, it's because I didn't shave. I'm like, okay.
It's just because, no. I think the longer you're married, if you have an active sex life, I think that's normal.
Yeah.
It's not like when you don't do it very often and then you do and you like immediately are like, oh God, that was so great. No.
No, that's
one of the wonderful things about being married.
Or just being in a long-term relationship.
Or that,
my God.
yeah. So same.
Kurt Russell turned 70 this week and he looks so goddamn good.
Doesn't he though? And then look at Goldie Hawn.
She's got to stop with the fillers.
Quit!
She's so beautiful. She
Right?
doesn't need it.
We talked about these celebrities going overboard with the fillers and the nose jobs and
I know.
Oh my God. I'm like, dude, how do you not see yourself?
It's so funny. Daryl goes, I can't believe Kate Hudson is what Goldie Hawn used to look like. I'm like a mirror image.
She literally looks like a clone.
Mirror image.
She's so beautiful.
Do you know who looks really good older?
Who?
Suzanne Summers.
Suzanne Summers is amazing.
She is 80 years old and she looks amazing.
She does, but she's a total health nut.
Yes, and she's the one that said, fuck you guys, menopause is something we need to talk about. And she wrote that book like 100 years ago and people swear by it.
And she's like, me and my husband have sex twice a day.
He takes pictures of her taking a bath. I'm like, well, I wouldn't do that.
Because, she's like, hey, I have him, he gets so much testosterone. He gets some testosterone injections.
Yeah,
which at that age you have to. It's natural that your body, it just stops producing it. So
I swear to God, if Daryl starts getting testosterone when he gets old, I don't know, he'll kill me. It'll be over.
No, it's a balance.
Get him off of me.
Because you don't make it anymore.
That's true. You do. It does stop.
Yeah, it almost stops or like really slows down.
It wanes. It does. It's not.
It's a real thing. So
yes, but you're right. I think, and I've always told Daryl, I'm like, if I look, and I know that they have work done. Somebody asked Jane Fonda, well, how do you look so good?
Oh my God.
She's like, plastic surgery and a lot of money.
Right.
That's how I look.
And
so
she
good.
does look amazing. Do you think Lily Tomlin gets work? Because she looks pretty great too, but
I think she does fillers.
Yeah,
for sure. Because she definitely has some movement to her face, and she doesn't have that inflated look that
like
some
she doesn't
women
look like
get.
a doll.
Like when Jane Fonda gets work done and it's new, you can tell.
She just looks so freaking good.
Oh my God. She has good hair.
Whoever her surgeon is, everyone should use him because
somebody was saying that Jennifer Aniston gets injections, she gets fillers, and I'm like, well, whoever does hers, I want them because she doesn't look like she has.
Natural.
She looks normal. And I love it.
She does. I like the fact that she actually looks her age. She still doesn't look like she's 20,
Isn't it hard to believe that women like Jennifer Aniston are going through what I'm going through?
Yeah.
They're like, my hair's falling out and I feel like an asshole all the time. What's going on?
I know,
and
right?
it's like, can you believe it? But nobody talks about it because, it's...
How old is Jennifer Garner?
Jennifer Garner, I think, is
younger.
She's a little
younger than us.
Yeah, because she still has 3 smaller kids.
Well, I have a small kid.
Yeah, but she has like 3 of them.
Yeah.
Like she's like... Well, she could be in her 40s.
I mean, I think
she's in her 40s.
It's really difficult for people to believe that I have a 9-year-old. They're like, you have a 9-year-old? I'm like,
I don't know, it looks so natural to me, but I
mean, but that's because I'm your sister. But I mean, I'm 48.
True. Some people just have, there was a time period, and I remember this so vividly. When I was working in the radio station, there were women, and they were hardcore career women, and they were older than me, probably by like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And they did not have kids, but they were married, but they were making bank. And they're like, I'm not getting fucking kids.
That's what I do. Yeah,
so
I make money,
then
not children.
These gorgeous ladies hit 40-ish. And said, all right, I'm having my kids now because I have money and I have a house and I have my car.
I have all the things I need.
And so they have kids that are like in junior high school. Their oldest is just now graduating high school. And I'm just like, I don't know there's no right or wrong, but I'm like, I'm almost jealous because
somebody said the other day I was reading these ridiculous comments and I don't even remember what the hell it was on, but it was about having kids older. And of course there were the kids who were kids of parents who had, and this one guy was like, I just think you're really selfish if you have kids at that age.
Why?
My parents were older when they had me, and my dad died when I was really young, and it was traumatic. I'm really pissed off that I didn't get to have a dad, because my parents decided to wait so long to have me.
I didn't even think about that.
And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, is my son going to be mad at me later? Because I don't know.
Well, I don't. First of all, you can't win for losing as a parent.
Yeah.
Whether you have them young like we did and they are mad at you for making so many stupid mistakes when you were
because
young.
You're young.
Or you
Right.
die prematurely in their life because you waited too long in their minds.
There's no perfect.
There's no win. You can't win with kids. I mean, and our parents know that.
Right.
And they're like, we did the best we could.
Actually, our parents had kids at a pretty good, I mean, they were in their 20s.
I was 20. Mom was 21 when she had me.
Yeah. So I feel like that's
young.
It's young, but
In this day and age, it's young. Back in the day, it probably was average.
I mean, it seems young to us now because we have our own kids and we're like, oh, God, I can't imagine our kids having kids at 21.
When I look at Malia, she's going to be 21 in September, and I go,
Can you imagine her getting pregnant right now?
I was pregnant with Tyler when you were this age. And she's looking at me like, oh, too bad for you. And I'm like, yeah,
Right?
exactly. She's like, can I have a White Claw? I'm like, I wish that has been my life at 20.
What's her birthday?
September 14th.
Okay.
It's right near Lauren's.
Okay. Oh, yeah. God. she's
Lauren's
gonna be
September
21?
26th. Yes.
Hey.
I know. But she's not much of a drinker, though. So it's kind of good.
Well, neither is Lauren.
I know.
At all.
Maybe it's the September babies. They just don't.
I would like to believe that. I think Lauren has learned her lesson from
Oh, yeah.
the people in her life.
She has watched.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of our family, something that we only revisit every once in a while is, do you wonder why people call it the ugly truth? They're like, why do they call it that? And why is it spelled like that? So I don't think you and I have ever talked about it on the show. I've talked about it with Paula. Now, Paula was not really a part of why.
No, it was totally me and you.
It was me and you.
100%.
And I have told stories about
I
how
remember
much
those so
we
vividly.
me too. How much we
remember.
hated each other when we were growing up.
I don't know if I hated you. I don't.
Our
we
fights
fought.
were severe. They
Yeah.
felt severe to me because our tempers.
We didn't physically fight though.
No, we never did.
That's the thing. And I know people who did, siblings who
we never
duked
did.
it out.
We never did throw hands. That's really weird. But we we were mentally cruel to each other.
Yeah, I thought that was normal for sisters,
it probably is.
especially sisters who are so close in age. I mean, we're 2 years apart.
I know. We had always had to be the ones to share a room.
Well, I mean, literally,
know?
so there's 4 sisters, right?
Yeah.
We had one bathroom.
I know.
We were all 2 years apart with the exception of Paula.
Who was 8 years younger than me, even.
And
Like,
6
she was
years
way
younger
young.
than me.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, can you imagine having 3 teenage daughters, high school daughters, in one bathroom? And it was like the tiniest bathroom ever.
And it was war. It was war.
Yes. And we all went to the same school at the same
I
time.
can remember going, you know what? Fuck this. I'm just going to get ready at school. I can't do this anymore.
Or we'd get ready in our rooms to the best we were able to.
Don't you take that curly hair into school! Your sister needs it! God. Did you take the makeup? I mean, because we would share everything. Because we
had
just
to.
did. But
There's so many of us.
No, so I don't remember vividly. We said it all the time. But I remember one time we were at our dad's house. And we were in the bathroom getting ready for school. Middle school. And I might have been a I think I was middle school. I don't remember.
No,
but
I think
we were
you were
in
a
that
freshman.
weird age group.
Maybe you were.
You
Yeah,
could have been a 7th grader. That's true. Yeah, you must have, because that was with the house where you stole Dad's car.
Yes.
So that was middle school.
I believe that was 8th grade.
Yes. So we were there against our own wishes. We did not like living
And
with
by
our
the
dad.
way, I had to point this out. I wasn't allowed to wear, none of us were.
No.
We were allowed to wear lip gloss, clear lip gloss, and mascara.
Brown.
We were like 13 or 14.
brown mascara.
Yes.
We weren't allowed to wear.
So, and that was it.
Yes.
So, I mean, it had to have been
were
at
very
least
strict.
a little bit longer than that when we were able to wear real makeup.
we're getting ready one morning, and first of all, I knew back then I was not a morning person, and you had to get up so goddamn early to get to school.
That's true.
And so it's like dark outside, and we're in the bathroom getting ready, and we could not stand each other in the mornings because we were.
Well, no one, I'm still not a morning person, by the
We should
way.
have been given coffee or something so that we could be palatable because we were
You know
so
what?
bitter.
Why did none of our parents ever buy a home with more than one bathroom? What the fuck?
I don't know.
I mean,
It's true.
seriously?
I know, it's
You
true.
have that many children?
And you buy a house with one bathroom.
One bathroom.
It's crazy. In fact, when you see this on House Hunters, well, it's only one bathroom. There's 7 of us. It's not going to work.
Like,
honey.
that's a deal breaker.
The dad will go, oh, we can make it work. And she's like, absolutely not. We are not making this work. Stop it.
No.
So anyway, we were in the bathroom and I was curling my hair and you gave me a side eye and you're like, you are so ugly. And I'm like, you're a whore. And you're all...
And that was like,
you are fat! And I'm like, you are the ugliest person I've ever seen in my life. And it went on, and we did this. And then finally someone would break down the door. Stop yelling at each other! Stop telling her you're ugly! That's mean! You're gonna regret it.
Mom really didn't like it when we called each other sluts and whores.
She really didn't.
Because that was pretty much the worst thing we could think of.
We couldn't think of anything else to say.
Back then. Yeah.
And it was really offensive. But what was funny is calling someone in our house, calling somebody ugly was absolutely worse than calling someone a cunt.
Oh my God.
It was so bad.
Right?
And you're like, you are so ugly.
Well, and we'd say other things like, I'm prettier than you are.
Oh my God.
It wasn't even like calling you ugly. It was just like, I'm prettier than you are. I'm better than you.
I have better hair than you. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and you were like, well,
so
you're flat. Remember, I hated being flat-chested when I was young. Oh my God,
because I had the huge boobs.
Jamie had giant bazooms from the gate.
From the get-go, man.
And I didn't. And so I hated it.
Like, hi, Pancake.
And Jamie had that on me forever.
Forever. That's all right. You're like, well, it's all right because you're fat. That's all. That's the only reason.
I know, which is so not
dumb
true.
And ugly. You're so dumb and ugly.
God, I know, right?
You said that forever. Hey, dumb and ugly. How are you? God.
And now look at us. We love
Mom,
it.
I know. And Mom would be like, you have to stop being abusive to each other. We're like, whatever. Where do you think we learned it?
Right?
She never said that to us, but...
No, but Mom was vain.
Oh my God, so vain.
So, I mean, we were inherently like, oh my God, you have to be beautiful. Like, it's a must. You can. There is no option of being ugly.
You know, it's funny because I have done a lot of research on Latino culture. And Mom, you would think that she was Mexican.
I know, right? Well, she loves Mexican. She's married too.
I know she has. It's true. But it's like she just
and not just a little bit Mexican.
Like 100% hardcore.
She goes for the full
Incan Mexicans. Like hardcore. And so she loves that culture.
Our grandmothers didn't speak English.
She loves that culture. And so I think, when I see these videos of kids going, what it's like to have a Mexican mom, and it's like Saturday morning, dun, 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 the smell of bleach.
Yes.
Wake up! Why are you sleeping? Because it's 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday.
Right? 7. It was like 6.
I've been to the grocery store. I have cleaned the kitchen. Now get up. We're cleaning today. God.
Right?
It's crazy.
Just because you don't have to go to school doesn't mean you have to sit around and do nothing.
I know. And so, so we would call each other ugly. And then I think when we became adults, we suddenly didn't hate each other every day. Right. And we became really good friends, and we had a really great time.
We started meeting each other a little bit when we were adults.
We did meet each other.
You and I specifically.
We were we've always been really close. And so,
not when we were calling each other sluts and whores.
Well, that's true. But after that phase,
you and I,
it's because we're close. I mean, in age.
In age, yeah.
And so we're kind of experiencing the same kind of thing at the same time. And so suddenly, and I don't really remember what happened, but at some point you're like, hey, hello, ugly. And I'm like, ugly here. How are you? Ugly. And then it just became, like we would call, it just happened. It just happened. And the only thing that I always, she's not the black sheep, but the only thing that I always wished that she would get on board with was Allison we'd be like, hey, ugly. And she'd be like, hag.
I know.
She always did to this day. She will not say it. And I'm like, maybe she was traumatized by us calling each other ugly so much.
She was traumatized by a lot of things that we did to her.
I know. It's
so it's no wonder she has a little resentment.
There's always a weak link in the group.
I know.
Can't help it. And it would have been Paula, but she was so fucking mean. Paula was mean. You couldn't get anything past her.
Paula was like a hornet from day one.
I know. And she's just like, why do you think I'm like this? I'm like, well, I don't know, but I guess it's us.
You freaking spit out that way, honey.
I guess it's us. I don't know. I don't remember.
We have pictures of her in full, stretched out, stiff as a board when she was like 8 months old.
She's like, fuck you all!
Yeah,
she was really an angry child.
She was funny.
She was a spitfire. Still is.
Yeah.
But so that's where Ugly came from. And so then when the show started to become a reality, Daryl's like, well, you have to call it Ugly Sisters. He always thought we should call the podcast Ugly Sisters. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't really flow to me.
No.
And we're so honest that we ultimately came up Ugly Truth, but it's got to be EE so everyone knows, because there actually is an Ugly Truth podcast with the Y.
Oh yeah,
but it's about
by accident.
It's about Middle Eastern conflict. It's not really.
Geez.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with anything.
Gosh,
so
such the opposite of what
it is.
We are.
Absolutely the opposite. And so we were.
Well, ours is very.
And it's such
intimate. I mean, you would really have to know us and know. Well, now people know, but before, and when we didn't have the show,
to explain it is so hard, because it's like, well, why do you call it that? And it's like, well, I have to tell you a story. Yeah. It's the only way to really explain it. And then once you know, and it's like, I am short. I don't know. Do other siblings call each other mean names and it turns into a term of endearment?
I would love to know. I know that some of the people I know who have siblings were always close. Mm-hmm. Like they never hated each other.
Oh, how weird.
Maybe they fought a little, but not like we did.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that is, but what I feel grateful for is that we didn't continue to hate one another
as we got older.
And some people do.
Yeah, like that would be hard.
And there's families where as they got older, then they realize, like, look, I don't really have to know you anymore just because we're related.
I would hate that so much.
Yeah. So, but I mean, that's not all that uncommon.
Although Daryl did tell me, he did say, he goes, you guys are like war veterans though. And if
I don't know if that's good.
If you have met men or women who have fought in a high stakes battle type
combat of any
kind of thing, the people that have experienced that together, they are the only ones that know what that was like.
True.
And so they stay close because they have that commonality.
That's why they have that brotherhood in the military,
right? And so he said, that's what you guys are like. And I said, well, we did experience some significant trauma, and no one really knows what that was except for the four of us.
Yeah. And you could try to explain it. I mean, I think everybody understands abuse, and
they do, but it's I think
it's individual. I think
different.
Everybody's abuse or trauma in their childhood, if they've experienced it, is very independent of that family.
Yes.
And so I think that
why would if somebody told me something that their family went through, I'd be like, that sounds absolutely horrific.
Right.
And then I'm like, we tell them about ours, and they're like, I don't know why you're even living.
But honestly, what's funny is when you say stuff like that, because like I know that you have done some soul searching in your life to come to peace with things that have happened to us. I have. And whenever you've told me about experiences that you've shared with others, professional or otherwise, and they say, how terrible it is, I am always curious about that, because I'm like, was it really that terrible?
Yeah. Do we just justify it? Like, no, this is just what we lived through.
Right. That's how I feel.
Right, me too.
But you're like, no, other people think it's really terrible.
I've had 2 therapists tell me that we should write a book.
So I'm like, oh my God.
Our mother, by the way, she's like, if you ever write a book,
I will kill you.
You have to do it when I'm dead. She does not. And I'm like, first of all, I'm not.
Barbara Streisand. She's like a Jew.
I don't diss family or loved ones in public. I mean, we talk about
the show
in lighthearted terms. We talk about our abuse, but in general, we don't.
We don't do a lot of shaming and blaming. And
it's almost like stand up in the sense that we take it and we turn it into something funny or whatever. Yeah. I mean, not this segment particularly, but in general terms, you know, we use it for good, not evil. Right. I have a hard time with that. I would never go like, our father was so abusive.
No.
How abusive was he? I'm not going to do that.
No.
But,
no.
But
I don't see the point in reliving it moment by moment.
I don't think I want to write a book, to be honest with you. I don't want to relive all that shit. It's hard. And I don't, especially when you therapy out of it, you're like, I can just look back on it now as just something that happened.
Right. And, maybe it's because I watched so much Discovery ID that I think our abuse compared to what I've seen on shows, God. I'm like, Jesus, I wasn't locked in closets and beaten with whips and forced to kill my siblings and bury them in the backyard.
Speaking of, like I think I need to slow down on the true crime stuff. Yeah. It's really starting to make me anxious. I'm afraid to let my children go do stuff, and they're adults. Yeah. I'm like, but what if you go missing and I never find you? I can't.
I know, right?
I can live with myself.
I just do the same thing.
I have to stop.
Well, I can still. That's one of the good things about having a young child is I can still control literally his every move. But with my daughter, I do have...
You live in Florida. Have you any idea how inept their law enforcement is?
I do, and not only that, but I mean, why do weird, terrible things happen in Florida all the time? It's like...
No rules!
Some of the most notorious serial killers on the planet have gone in Florida. And the thing about Florida is like... Why, of all the states in the Union, would you choose to be a serial killer there where they kill people constantly? If you go to death row, you're going to die.
It's true.
You're not going to sit there for 30 years.
That or Texas.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would you, if I'm going to choose a state to be a serial killer, it's California, not going to be Florida or Texas.
Come to California.
100%. They will treat you well. You can be gluten-free. You can
organic.
You can be organic.
You can practice.
You can be kosher. You can have kosher meals.
It's great. All you have to do is slaughter a bunch of people and live to your old days. Write a book.
Really, they might even let you out depending on what's going on.
Do a ton of documentaries. You know, you'll be a celebrity.
Yeah. You're positively not going to get killed on death row.
You'll be totally fine.
That's for sure.
Just an alternative way of living.
Yeah. So I never understood that, but anyway, yeah.
All right. So that's why we call it the ugly truth. That's how you do it.
I know, isn't that weird?
I know. I don't understand.
Okay, it's now a term of endearment.
Totally. And now what's funny is I've even tried to use it. Well, we use it when we talk about our kids. We'll say baby Uggs.
Yeah.
But they're really not even Uggs. That's the thing that's so funny. It's like,
thankfully,
it does not stick. It doesn't stick. We call them the babies, or we call them our, kids or whatever. But we never use the term Ugg with them ever.
No, it's
not. So funny.
Well, we call our husbands honorary
Uggs. Well, no, they're an Ugganon.
Yeah, because
they're an Ugganons because they're the only ones that know. And Daryl's the founding member.
True.
Not really, but yeah.
No, I agree.
He's the long term.
Daryl is one of those people that you can be really honest with.
He's like, well, first of all.
And he doesn't judge.
Daryl is, I would say he's the only man that I can think of. Although Alan, my ex, he also had an appreciation for the Uggs.
Yeah, he did.
Daryl fully embraces all the stuff that comes with being in the family with us.
Yeah.
And
which is no joke.
Absolutely. Like, I'll do stuff and he'll start laughing. I'm like, it is really dangerous for you to be laughing right now. Like, why do you think, because I've been so calm this year, that you forget who I am?
Right.
He's like, no. He's like, it's just so refreshing to be with someone not normal. I'm like, okay. Like, I will take that as a compliment.
Awesome.
I'm like, but you're still an asshole. And you drive like shit.
Oh my God.
He hates it so much.
What's so funny is my son has recently started to ask me if I'm going to be the one to drive when we go somewhere together, when the three of us go together. Yeah. And now he's even smart enough to ask me when his dad is not around. Are you going to drive, Mom?
Would he prefer it, or does he just not want to hear the yelling of you saying you drive like shit?
No, I don't yell because it's pointless.
I see.
But no.
I just get angry and don't speak.
I will just basically not speak.
I just sit there and I'll like do the pretend brake, and I'll put my hands on the dash real fast.
Well,
and
I have done.
God damn it!
Yeah, I will intercede if he's going to literally put us in danger. Like we were coming up to a speed bump the other day. He literally did not see it. He was just going for it. And we were in his truck, which is ginormous.
Yes, it is. It's a diesel.
It's a dually. It's huge.
Oh my
okay.
God.
So
flinging into the.
We were coming flying down the street towards this undulation, whatever you want to call it. And I'm like waiting for his reaction to slow down, and he never did. And I was like, Jerry! He's like, what? And I mean, by the time I yelled, it was too late. And he's like, oh, God damn it, I didn't see it. I'm like, clearly.
Can you imagine?
Well, then he did it twice because we had to go back.
The person behind you watching you.
Oh, my God. They were like, what is this guy doing in this missile of a vehicle?
Suffering from truck turbulence.
All these heads are flying around. Okay, so yeah, but I mean, and he did it twice on the same street. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to kill you. So no, my son will be like, Mom, are you going to drive? So the other day, he's asked me this several times now to where I'm finding it to be a pattern. And I'm like, why do you want me to drive? I'm like, is it because I'm a better driver than Daddy? He's like, well, and he's so sweet. He didn't want to say anything bad about his dad. He's like, well, no. He's like, it's just that,
And you're like shit-eating grin. You're
I'm like, say it. Because I think I'm better at everything. And he's like, no, Daddy's just a little slower than you are. Oh. I was like, oh. And I'm thinking to myself, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but.
Well, it's really. Okay, so when Daryl drives, because we have to take his truck now everywhere.
Why?
He loves it so much.
I'm like, but your car is so
I
amazing.
love my car. I love it. I do enjoy my car very much, but he would be buried in this car if he could. He loves it so much. So we drive
it. He takes pictures a lot of it.
He has an Instagram account for it, Stephanie.
Oh, okay.
He loves it.
I know he does, and I'm so glad for him because he wanted it so bad.
And he's been wanting this truck for years.
I know.
Since I met him, he's always wanted a big black truck.
Right.
It's the brand has changed, but the goal has always been the same. So to him, getting this truck was like a huge milestone.
Yeah,
and so he loves
awesome.
it. And so, yes.
He earned it.
He has his little Instagram account for his truck, his little Dodge Ram. And so it's not little.
It's not
big.
little.
But anyway.
It's the Rebel base.
I can't tell you how many times me and the girls will be in the truck with him and we'll be going to do something fun or whatever. And I didn't realize that I was so judgy when it came to his driving, but I'm pretty judgy. And so it's everything. I criticize everything. And it's because I'm not in control.
Right.
And that's the problem. That's why I hate flying.
Jamie drives so fast, though, I have to tell you.
I know.
I can't even tolerate. I barely can drive with you.
Mom's the same way. She's like, Jamie, are you sure?
Because you drive fast.
I know. And so I've always been that way.
I know.
One time I was on the freeway in my car just the other day. I was driving to my hair appointment on 50, and it was like in this weird time of the day where there was like nobody on the freeway. Oh my God, it felt so good. I was going 100. It felt amazing.
Jamie Lynn.
It felt amazing.
You can go to jail for going that fast.
I doubt it.
You can.
Jail?
Yes.
I don't think I'd do
It's
well in
considered,
jail.
I can't remember what the excessive speed, but anything over 90.
Is it considered
it's
like reckless?
Driving, yes.
That'd be hard to
If a cop
explain.
was being an asshole and having a bad day, like a motorcycle.
Oh yeah, motorcycle
cops are the worst.
They are very angry.
I don't know why.
I don't know. Probably because they're always at risk because they're on a motorcycle.
That's what I was thinking too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, you could have killed me.
And I bet you they see things that like even car
yeah.
cops don't see because you don't see them.
Yes.
I hate them.
I know. You know, some of the things I've always wanted to do
Not
a
personally,
racetrack.
but
I've
I
always
do.
wanted to do a racetrack, you know, where you can
That
go
would be
to Sears
fun.
Point or whatever. It's not called Sears Point anymore, but you can go to whatever, Sonoma Raceway, and you can go.
If you buy a brand new Corvette, you can.
Really?
Yeah, they have their own racetrack in Arizona.
Ooh.
So if you buy a brand new Corvette, you have to pay, but
Yeah.
it's literally like you can take your car there and they have their own raceway.
I saw.
And you can race it.
I saw, so there's this thing where you can go and you can race on a racetrack, and they say it's to help you learn how to maneuver cars better,
Right.
you know, like freeway driving or whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, I would totally do that because I would love to just floor it.
Wouldn't it be fun?
The problem is I looked into it for real because I really wanted to drive fast on a speedway. I thought it'd be so fun to take turn 2, and there's someone with you. You don't get to be by
yeah.
yourself, and it's like a pace car. And I'm like, okay, this is not what I want.
But you'd probably be surprised how fast that thing would go.
I would love to know. And I don't want someone telling me how to drive. That's the
Yeah,
thing. I'm like,
that's the
shut
thing.
up, just shut up. If you're going to be there, just sit down and be
They
quiet.
don't want you to kill yourself.
I know, but I still, you know, I think it'd be great.
You're
I think
just
I would look really good in a
dad.
fire suit. It'd be really
You
nice.
would. You would look so cute in a fire suit.
I remember one time, and you remember this too, probably. Our dad raced race cars for a very long time.
Yeah.
And then at one point he almost died. And so he became...
More than once.
He became an owner instead. And
Yeah.
so... we had a couple of really good drivers, but we were somewhere like Baylands, or I don't know, we were at some racetrack, a dirt track, and the track was really, really muddy, and so they wanted the drivers to come out and pack the track, which is something that they would do
Normal.
pretty normally.
Yeah.
After they wet it all down and graded it and everything like that. And I said, hey, Dad, can you let me do that?
I call it mud laps.
Yeah, can I do the mud laps? And he's just like, yeah, sure. So I was
He said yes.
I was so excited. I was like 16, 17 years old, and I was so excited.
He would.
And I said, all right. He goes, okay. And then we were in the pits.
The officials were like, no.
No. He was going to let me do it. And I was so stoked. I'm like, Dad, I'm so excited. I'm going to wear his helmet, and I'm going to go, and it's going to be great. And he goes, no. And I said, what? He goes, I've changed my mind. I'm like, why? He goes, Jamie, you're going to kill yourself out there. I said, no, I won't. It's mud laps, Dad. You go like 20 miles an hour. He goes, no, you don't. You go like 50 miles an hour, and you've never done it before. You can damage someone's vehicle, like their race car, and they're like 30 grand. It's like, no. And I was like, Dad, come on. He's like, nope,
They
sorry.
probably didn't have insurance on those.
Probably. I'm sure someone talked some sense into him and said, you cannot let your daughter go out there and drive this car.
Too bad it wasn't a 2-passenger car.
Oh, God, it would have been so great.
That would have been fun, and he would have let you do it.
I would have loved it. Oh, I wanted to race so bad.
He probably was like, yeah, that's fine. And then he was like, wait a minute.
Let me think about all of the things. He's like, no.
Well, I'm glad he came to his senses.
I was so distraught. I was so upset that he took it back.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Someday.
Yeah.
Although
I have to say that of all of our childhood memories, I'm really grateful that we had those.
Me too.
Most of them.
Yes. No, the race car times, the racing times was a really good time.
Yeah,
and it's
there were
good
why we
times.
all love cars.
Oh, yeah, we all do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all do. It's
Well,
true.
Paula doesn't.
She loves those car auctions. She cannot stop watching those.
Oh, I do too.
I watch them a little bit.
But I actually don't love cars just because of...
I just love racing.
them. Yeah,
I love racing.
Well, I love mechanical things. And
too.
I just love cars.
Oh, please. My toy was I got a phone and I had to take it apart and put it back together. That was my toy, yeah. And then Dad brought...
no, you did carburetors.
Dad brought home he brought home a carburetor, and he said, take it apart and put it together again.
And you did.
I did.
Yeah, that was cool. That was fun. Yeah, you were always like that. Yeah.
It's true.
I wish I could afford my love of cars. But,
Same.
right?
I would love it. Daryl's like,
God,
I'm gonna
Jay
get
Leno
you a new
is my
car.
hero.
He has like 3 warehouses full of vehicles.
I know. They say, they won't really say exactly what his car collection is worth, but it's in the billions.
It's got to be billions. I mean, Jerry Seinfeld, same.
Oh, really?
Oh, my God.
Well, I know they're friends, and I've seen him on Jay's show.
Oh, yes. Oh, I love that show.
We
Comedians in Cars with Coffee?
No.
Oh.
Jay Leno's Garage.
Oh, yeah, I've never watched that.
Oh, my God.
I'll have to watch it.
You'll love it.
I will.
He has all kinds of celebrities that come on who have car collections.
Thing. Yes.
I mean, he's had everyone you can think of, from Avril Lavigne, however you say her
Avril
name.
Lavigne has car collections?
She's got a really rare... I cannot remember what it is, if it's a Bentley or it's something. It's a race car, but it's fucking cool. And so she let him drive her car together, and it was funny. And he does that with a lot of celebrities. He's been to George Bush's farm and driven George Bush's beloved truck. It's very much like Daryl's, but it's a different brand.
You know what?
I
I would love a really old truck. I've always wanted a super old truck.
He has one too.
I've always wanted one. I always thought it'd be fun to have, because they seem
it's a huge farm, so they
also
ranch,
seems like it'd
whatever.
be easier to fix because they're super simple.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
And that's the thing about Jay, is he's a total purist.
Oh, so he doesn't
is
like
a diehard purist.
Okay.
Well, because he could afford literally anything. He has both.
Oh, and
he has them all over.
Wait, he has experimental cars too, right?
He has everything.
Yeah. You know what? I've heard
He
that
probably has a flying car.
From what I understand, you can actually, if you have a way in, he will let you tour his car facility.
Oh, no.
Bucket list. That'd be fun.
Well, you should watch the show. It's really good.
I will. Okay, so it's time for Ugly and Awkward Moments of the Week. One. If you don't, it's fine. You can give us a throwback.
Okay.
Too, if you have any that you can think of that are throwbacks. I mean, we've heard about you coughing on your walks. So you were choking on your walks.
No, gagging. It wasn't even coughing. It was literally like gagging. You know what I will say that reminded me, it did happen again to me this week. But I was alone.
Oh, great.
Thankfully. But I was alone in the sense that I was like by myself. I wasn't with a friend or anything. Mm-hmm. But I was in public. And I was walking through the parking lot going into Safeway when it was happening. And I was so grateful for the mask at that point.
Oh, for sure.
Because I could open my mouth, and I have mastered the ability to gag without looking like I'm gagging. Totally. So I was gagging.
Why does this happen so often to you?
I think it's dehydration and allergies.
Oh yeah, they're bad. That's
and
true.
I like right now I really can't breathe. Like my whole schnoz and everything is just completely stuffed up. It has been the whole time. But I've been drinking. I brought iced tea with me.
Yes.
So I was walking into the store and it happened again. And so I'm gagging and there's people around me, but nobody knew because I was hiding my gag. But by the time I actually hit the doors,
Were your eyes watering?
Totally.
You're like, why is this woman crying?
And now there's always a grocery cart person at the doors now because of pandemic, so they can here's your cart, this is clean, you know. And I'm like,
thank you.
I know. He looked at me like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, nothing, just trying not to throw up. Fine.
Oh my God, yeah. I don't know what it is. Choking on spit is kind of normal now.
Oh my God.
Why is that a thing?
I was thinking I had like cerebral palsy or something the other day.
You have MS?
Or MS, yeah, one of those, because it keeps happening to me at work and it's like violent. and I can't stop. And I'm like saying, excuse me, and it goes on forever. And I'm like, oh my God, my throat muscles are starting to not work.
They're weakening. Yeah, it's funny because that happens to Daryl too. We all choke on spit for some reason, and I don't know why, but he chokes on spit a lot. And so now, and we've spoken about this, so I'm not going to get into it, but he can see me kind of like straightening up and getting tense when he won't stop coughing. And so he like excuses himself now. And he goes into another group. Yes. So, but the irony...
Jerry would learn this lesson.
The irony is when I do...
He waits till I yell every time.
When I do it, and I'm like... constantly, and I get angry at myself.
Right?
I'm angry.
I tell myself, no one around me is saying anything, but I'm like, God, you guys, I'm sorry. I know this is so annoying. They're like, what? Oh, okay.
I'll be doing it. I'll be like, God damn it, Jamie Lynn! And I can't stop. And Daryl's like, are you all right? I'm like, leave me alone! It's like, just let me be embarrassing by myself. God,
because it doesn't bother them the way it bothers us.
No.
I mean, I don't know if it does Daryl, but it doesn't Jerry. He could care less.
So goddamn tolerant. It's crazy.
Yeah, but then Jerry gets like 3 coughs, and that's pretty much my limit.
You're like, that's one.
Well, I don't say anything, but I go...
Yeah, exactly.
I sigh, and then I look out of the corner of my eye.
You're all peripherals.
Okay, fine. Then he does it again, and by that point, I'm like... I look at him like, seriously, do it again.
You're making me Muttley laugh.
Do it again. Stop it. And then he does it the third time. He's like, God, I don't know what's wrong. I used my inhaler. And then he'll get up and walk out. I'm like, yeah.
Oh my God. The Muttley laugh must stop, Jamie. God, it's horrible.
It's because we're the same people. That's why.
Anyway, so my awkward moment it was quite violent. So we have, in our shower, we have the main shower head, and then we have a handheld.
Yes.
I love the handheld because it's so much easier to rinse out long hair and, getting into the areas.
Yes.
So funny. So anyway, we've had it for a while, and sometimes if you buy them at Lowe's or whatever, they're not industrial, so they don't last forever.
No, you have to replace
washers,
them.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
And so, I'm in the shower and I finish. I'm drying myself off. I grab a towel and I'm in the shower still. I grab a towel and I bend over, put my hair in a towel wrap, and I fling it up. Well, the towel is a little damp.
What happened?
So I violently flung my head back and I ripped the shower handheld clean off of the wall, and it broke in 3 pieces on the floor. And I was like, God damn, what the hell? And so I'm standing there naked in the shower trying to put it back together. And I'm like,
now I have to tell Daryl.
I'm like, this isn't working. Why isn't this working? Because it's broken.
It's broken. And you can't see because you don't have your glasses.
Nothing. And I'm wet and my mascara and, whatever. And I'm like, blinking, going, why isn't this?
You don't wash your eyes off in the shower?
I do, but I always have residual.
Same,
and
me
so, anyway, so I get out. I'm like, well, God damn it. I broke the fucking shower with my head and my towel.
Oh, my God, that's
And so
funny.
I had to tell Daryl, I'm like, so we have to buy a new shower head. He's like, why? And I told him. He goes, why? How did you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. It just happened. I just flung it back, and I got really violent, apparently. And I was just like, enough of this! And I just broke the whole thing.
Your cord must be really long that it could stretch long, because mine's kind of short.
Well, the towel hit the head.
Yeah.
It just ripped off.
It must have been ready to break. I can't imagine that it was.
I don't know, but, it was a whole thing. And so then he's like, well, I guess I have to go to Lowe's today.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know. I'm sorry. I didn't know.
What do you do when you're going blind and you're in the shower nowadays to see what you're doing? Because I literally put conditioner in my hair the other day instead of shampoo. Because I couldn't see the goddamn bottle.
You know what? Sometimes I'll squint and I'll get a certain distance.
Yeah.
I'll go, if I see the ooh, and I'm like, okay, that's shampoo. The O's, if I can see the O's.
Well, I keep mine in the same position now in the shower, so I know left from right. Okay, left is always shampoo. But of course, Jerry can disturb my madness.
Disturb your environment.
Yes, not knowing.
You know what? Well, the thing that actually concerns me the most is not being able to see what you look like when you're applying cosmetics. Because
I hate that.
When you see elderly people and women, you're like, wow, do they
you know why.
Now you know why. Their eyebrows are weird. And
you can't put eye makeup on with your freaking glasses on.
You can't. And so I have a 20-time magnifying light mirror. I'll show you when you leave.
I will invest.
It was like $30 at Ulta, and I said, this is so great. Now, of course, I hate it because I can see literally everything, and I'm like, I look horrible. In fact, if I went to a dermatologist right now, they'd be like, what are you not doing to your poor skin? You look looks like hamburger. But, that's just because we're so abusive to our skin.
I know. Why do we do it?
I don't know. I've been slathering myself with lotion, hoping that I can
repair it.
Hair. Yeah, so I could heal it. But anyway, so I'm like, well, this explains everything. And the lady called me today. She's like, your glasses have been ready for a week. Are you going to come and get them?
Jamie,
and I'm like,
go.
And I'm like, So I don't know how much longer I can use the excuse. Probably not for much longer. I'm like, we had a death in the family, okay?
Yeah, you don't get to get away with this for much longer.
It's been a month. I probably can't.
But only because of pandemic that you've been getting away with it this long.
Yes. And so I'm like, I guess I can come in today. And she's like, I'm so sorry. Okay, we'll see you when you can get here. No problem. And I'm like, okay, I can't.
It's an immediate out when you say that.
This is the first time that I've used it for evil.
For evil.
I need to not. And it didn't feel right. But then again, I feel guilty about everything.
I do too.
Whatever. And I'm like, God. And then I'll obsess about it for a week.
I
like,
know,
this poor woman thinks that I'm suffering.
I have to stop that. I do it at night. If I wake up in the middle of the night, which I do every night.
Yes.
I start thinking about things and I'm like, don't do it. Don't think about it. It doesn't matter. And it's nothing you can resolve right now at 3 a.m. So why are you torturing yourself? No one else is thinking about work at 3 a.m. You.
No one's thinking about that woman that you spoke to 100 hours ago.
No, it's not even that. It's that somebody that pissed me off that I didn't realize I was pissed off about. And then later on, I'm like, you know what? That was a real fucking asshole thing to do. You fucking asshole! What am I going to say to you tomorrow to make sure you know?
It's true. It's so true.
And then by the time morning comes, I've talked myself down off the ledge. You're like, you're not going to say a goddamn thing because you're a professional. And you're not going to.
You're a goddamn professional!
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Oh my God, that's so
anyway,
true.
Shut your pie hole, Stephanie, and move on.
I actually, and then we can say goodbye. I absolutely have been going through these things where I have earworms and I cannot stop thinking of the same song over and over again.
Oh my God, that happens to me constantly. There's something wrong with me.
There's something wrong with me.
Okay. I mean, I do it for days.
Me too. I have been singing Watermelon Sugar for 4 days in a row.
I don't know that song.
It's Harry Styles. I can't stop thinking about it. Watermelon Sugar, I woke up in the middle of the night and I'm like, watermelon sugar. I'm like, I can't anymore. It's like strawberry on a Sunday evening. You can't stop. I'm being tortured.
I do it until I fall asleep and then I wake up and it's right there.
It's like that Ellen.
Oh my God, I hate it.
Ellen routine where you wake, bye, Menon. I can't stop saying it.
But mine's songs, full-blown songs.
Minor songs.
Yeah, and
completely.
I really hate it. And it'll take days sometimes to get one out of my head.
I can't.
But then it's just another one.
Yeah, then another just comes in.
But at least it's not the same one. I'm like,
and I'm always relieved.
It's not that one.
Aren't you relieved when
that it's over?
Comes in? You're like, oh, at least I'm only obsessing about this new one now. Woo.
Yeah.
We're so messed up.
I'm like, what is wrong with me?
We're fucked up. We're just fucked up.
And I'm like,
people.
and how do you cure something like that?
I don't know.
Would talk therapy actually do it? No.
Not in the least. It's just gonna have to drink.
It's just something, and that's like, when we talk about, you may really, not you, me, benefit from talk therapy or something like that.
Sure.
I'm not a huge.
It's not.
I'm not against therapy. I feel like
what is there to say?
No, it's not. Well, yes.
Yeah.
But not only that, but I mean, I think it's just too exhausting for me to try to deal with it.
It is very mentally draining. You have to be.
I don't have any room in my life to try to do that right now.
It's true. It's totally true.
So and it's much easier just not think about it.
But there are other ways to help yourself mentally without requiring a professional. I mean, there's so many goddamn books and websites and YouTube videos and there's so many things. You just have to find your thing. And, one thing that's been really cool is there you can text people, you can chat online, because
mytalktherapy.com.
What a surprise that people who have mental health issues are afraid to call or go somewhere.
I know, right?
Like, it's the number one thing. I had to physically remove my son out of a vehicle every week for a year. It was horrible.
God.
And I think Zoom therapy has been a game changer for people.
Because you don't have to do anything. You don't have to
just sit there and go, hi, I'm having a really hard day. It's like, all right,
you have to do is log on.
All you have to do is log in and talk to me. You don't even have to have the camera on. It's like,
oh, really?
No, it's great.
Cool. Yeah, I hate the camera thing.
Well, you know how I feel about it. I hate it.
Well, most recently, they've been really encouraging us to do with cameras on because we're doing so many things from home now.
Yeah.
And because of the nature of my job, everything's so confidential.
Yeah.
That they want to make sure that, there's not people in the room.
You're not at Starbucks.
Or whatever. Yes, exactly.
That makes sense.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
So they're like, in the interest of confidentiality, we're really encouraging everybody to do video. They're being lenient about it, but they really are pushing it. So I've been doing it like the last 2 meetings. I can't tell you how much I hate it. I hate it.
You're like,
it's like looking in a mirror
always
the whole time.
Oh, well,
and you do mirror things. You start messing with your hair.
Yes, you do.
In fact, you're like doing this, and I'm like, everyone is watching you, you moron.
Well, what's funny?
Fling your hair around.
Natalie had her baby shower via Zoom for her California family members because she lives in another state. And I logged in begrudgingly because it wasn't that I didn't want to go. I did want to go, but I knew that I was going to have to Zoom and see myself.
And other people.
Well, I don't mind that so much, but just the fact that I can see myself doing stuff, ultimately I ended up looking down almost the entire time.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh my God, I look horrible with glasses on. I don't even want to see myself.
Right? But you can't see without them.
I could not see a thing. I
usually focus on like one person.
Yes.
Like the main person or whatever, I'll just look at them the whole time and try not to look at myself.
It's really, really uncomfortable.
But it's really terrible.
It's really terrible.
Yeah, I hate it.
Anyway, all right. Well, that's the show, I think. Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, not. I'm tucked out.
I mean, I'm getting my voice. It's like I'm losing my voice. Anyway, so thank you again for supporting Lumi through The Ugly Truth. And also, of course, you can go to lipandclip.com and get some Belief products, which are my favorite that I use. Have you tried any of them yet?
I have.
Do you like them?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I do. I don't want to say anything disparaging.
What did it give you? Did it make you break out?
I broke out like fucking like I had the measles.
Oh no! Well,
and I was so disappointed because I really liked the product.
Yes.
I love a good eye cream.
Yes.
Actually, the eye cream wasn't as bad, but the moisturizer just did me in.
Well, that's okay. I mean, it's not for everybody.
But you know what? I'm putting it on Jerry because he needs it way more than me.
Does he like it? Is it working?
He doesn't care.
No, but I mean, he's not breaking out.
Him. No.
Oh, good.
He doesn't have sensitive skin.
He's like, she's touching me.
He's like, oh my God.
Affection.
She cares. She doesn't hate me. She doesn't want me to have wrinkles. Yes.
That's true.
That's true. So
well, that's good.
Well, he's very self-conscious about being so much older than I am.
Sure.
And I think the older he gets, the harder it is.
He's like, I'm a relic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I forever look young to him, even though we're almost 20 years apart, I'm 24 years older than I was when we started.
Yes.
I mean, so I don't feel like it's that big of a deal, but it's a thing for him. So
I never want to run into any of my exes from when I was younger. I have no desire to do that.
God, I can't tell you how many people on Facebook I see from high school, and I literally do not recognize them. I have I know their name,
and that's it.
But they look nothing like the person I remember. I'm like, oh my God. And by the way, you men out there, if you're listening, stop it with the beards. Quit with the goddamn beard. They don't hide anything, okay?
We know
just
that you
look old.
You have a chin. We see it. It's okay.
I would rather see your chin than your gray, furry, 3-inch long beard. It's ugly.
Even if you coif it.
No.
Yeah, I'm not a
Okay, if your wife likes it, fine, whatever.
You have to have it.
But I'm just, God,
well, you know what? It's so
yuck.
weird with men and their facial hair because when we were in our 20s, those goddamn goatees were everywhere.
I know. I was never a fan, but I could deal with a goatee a lot better than I could deal with the full Grizzly Adams thing.
These goatees that basically are just little circles around the chin and under the nostrils, these circles. I'm like, your face looks like a pussy. I hate it.
Right?
Daryl shaved his off. Finally.
I don't know. Maybe it's just a personal preference. Like, I could never be with a man with a beard. I just could not do it.
Not a fan. Personally, I'm not a fan either.
I
mean, I don't mind.
I abhor it.
Yeah, no.
If you can't tell.
I don't mind, I don't mind Daryl letting his hair grow out for vacation mode.
Yeah, totally.
But he looks cute when he's scruffy.
Absolutely.
But if those things started to curl under, I'd be like, you know what? We need to have a chat.
You know what? He does the vacation beard too.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Because it's so not common.
Not normal.
Yeah,
right.
that it's like, it kind of reminds you
yes,
they shave every freaking day. Mm-hmm. But then it does get to a point where it starts to look dirty.
You're like, what are you doing?
I'm over it.
What are we doing?
Yeah, no.
This isn't scruff. These aren't that's not pokey. Now it's starting to curl.
Yeah, stop it. Yeah, no.
Yeah, not a fan. I am personally also, but we'll get women going, I love them. They're sexy.
I know.
Like, that's fine.
I had someone who's a really, really dear friend who I absolutely adore, and he has always had a thick beard. And I don't care because he's not my man.
Yeah, you don't have to kiss him.
Honestly. And I don't even mind looking at it on him because I don't care.
I don't like beards either.
But when they were getting married years ago, all of us girls at work who work with him were like, you have to get rid of the beard for the wedding.
Really?
Like, yes. Like, you want to look good.
Yeah, you want to be nice and clean.
All of your fucking relatives are going to be there. People you haven't seen are flying in from all over the place. I'm like, just do it. It'll look nicer for pictures. And he's like, my wife, soon-to-be wife, does not, she forbids me to. She just loves it. She does not want me to do it. She thinks it'll be weird. I won't look like myself, And I'm like, yeah, she's not wrong, but I just don't relate with women like that. So I'm like, I really need to shut my mouth because not everybody feels the way I do.
I just let Daryl, I do put my foot down on the beard because I don't want to kiss it.
It infringes on your life.
I don't like it. But, he had a mustache forever.
I remember.
Forever.
And
I don't know. Well, he said he had it because he felt like he looked like a little boy. And so he always had facial hair. And I'm like, okay, I get it. But he's like, I always thought you liked my mustache. I'm like, well, I don't really give a shit either way.
I did not like it.
But I just thought, if you shaved it, would be all right, But, and this is just the truth, so there's nothing disparaging about this. This is the actual truth of the story, is when Daryl started working in the Bay Area, he would go to a coffee shop, and there was a barista there who was gay, and he propositioned him and said, hey, are you free? You want to go out or something like
Daryl
that.
was like, what?
And he's like, nice mustache. He said something. And Daryl came home and he goes, do you think I look gay? And I said, no, why? He goes, well, because I was propositioned today, like not sexually, but like a guy wanted to go out with me. And I'm like, well, first of all, that is a very amazing compliment.
Yes.
Because, it is. I go, second, there is a community of men who wear mustaches in the gay community.
That's true.
Freddie Mercury style.
Yeah, totally.
And so he's like, I'm shaving it.
That was it?
He shaved it that night.
Oh, that's funny.
Literally that night. He's like, I don't want people to think I'm in that community. And I'm like, I understand. It's like, you don't want to mislead people.
I mean, I don't know. I know girls who've been propositioned by other women.
I have.
I have not.
What?
I have never. I know. I think I should be upset about that.
I was propositioned by 2 women in my life. One, she was clearly not sure if she was gay or not.
So she just wanted to experiment.
But she definitely had an attraction that she could not explain. And she basically told me that. She's like, I just think you're so beautiful, and I don't know, and looking back now, it's so sweet.
Yeah, it is.
It scared me then.
Right.
But
like, oh God,
because it was at work in the bathroom.
Yeah.
But
ooh, that's kind of creepy.
Well, it just was, I just think it was one of those things where when you're trying to figure your shit out, you just have to do it, right?
Yeah, right.
And someone probably said, girl, if you're gay, just do it, And so
Who knows?
I don't think I give off a gay vibe, but I definitely think
you're a person of acceptance.
With Daryl too, it's acceptance, because I've watched men pick up on Daryl in Napa. I've seen it happen.
That's so crazy.
I've asked my friends who are gay men, and they go, oh, absolutely, they were trying to get rid of you. And I'm like, well, that's funny. It's not going to happen.
Well, they don't know you.
Well,
but you know what? I mean, I wonder how many times it's worked for them.
Exactly.
There are a lot of married men
absolutely
who hide behind their marriages.
Sure. And I've always asked Daryl that. I'm like, do you think you would ever? And he's like, no, I'm completely 100% heterosexual.
I know, right?
And he goes, but I'm accepting, and I don't care. I don't look, there's no
I don't care what you are.
Notions,
right.
And I'm the same way. And so that has happened. So that happened. And then a lot later, a woman who was considered butch, I guess is how you say it. She also, hey, princess. And I'm just like, oh, that's
was it a stranger?
Sweet. Yeah, it was at a bar. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet, but I'm really not gay at all.
I'm so straight.
Not at all. I mean, but I'm very, very flattered. And so she's like, all right. And she just moved on with her life. But I'm just like, oh, that's so cool. But I just think the way I always looked at it now is like, I think it's cool if a human being thinks you're attractive.
Oh, I do too.
I can't believe woman
you
has
have to kind of, yeah, I mean, you have to get over yourself, back in the day, I mean, and it happened to Jerry once, and of course, he told me immediately about it.
He's like, oh my God.
Yeah, he was so shocked. But, and then you're like, well, God, I mean, I'm so distrustful of everybody. I'm like, God, are you hiding something from me? Like, geez.
I know.
But no, I think it's
not that
it's
at
common.
all.
Yeah. I'm just like, but it's never happened to me. I'm like,
now you're mad.
No, I must give up the vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe.
Or you know what? I don't even think it's that I don't get off the vibe. I think I am so incredibly protective of myself.
Yes.
I have like this huge wall around me.
Yes.
Like no one is gonna, because I'm not worried about somebody like emotionally harming me. I'm literally worried about getting raped or kidnapped.
I don't want to be end up in a barrel somewhere.
That's me.
Yeah. And you probably put off that vibe. It's funny.
Sure
I watch those shows. Like I said, I was telling you, I watch true crime, and I'm just like, in a million years, that will never happen to me. There could be 100 women, and I would be the last person a serial killer would pick.
I'm really glad for that too.
Me too.
Because I absolutely have that vibe.
Well, I mean, I've told you about the stories where I've had men follow me.
Yeah.
And I turn them like, what the fuck do you want? Like, there is no, like, no. I'm just like, no, asshole, come closer. I'm like, no.
Yeah, same.
And they just like smile and like wander off.
Okay, she's not the one. Yep, not me.
Don't even fuck around with me, asshole.
Yeah, that's me.
But, you know, there are unfortunate women. There are men and women who are not so mean.
No, that's why they have those shows to educate people.
To teach you. But anyway, so maybe, well, you know what? You're not dead. You don't know. Maybe a woman will find you.
I know. I'm sure. You know what? There probably has been, but like you said, I'm they're like afraid because they don't want me to humiliate them. Well,
not
something.
only that, but I mean, sometimes
I'm so forward. I'm so direct.
Well, also if I've seen you in public or when you're out and about, and the last thing you're doing is scanning the room. You're very focused on your task and getting to your table or getting to wherever you're going.
I know,
and so you could absolutely have been and not even notice and like completely not noticed.
That's true.
Because men too. I can't tell you how many times that's happened. Jared's like, you know, that was really offensive. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, that guy was literally picking up on you right in front of me. I'm like, what are you talking about? Who? Who? The guy in the red shirt. I'm like, what red shirt? I don't even see it. You know, I don't even look
pretty much
anymore.
know when guys are picking up on me because I'm so grateful that it still happens.
Aww.
Aren't you?
I don't even notice.
Oh my God.
So like
I totally do.
I just don't. I think I'm so gross. I just don't even.
I mean, I do too. That's why when it happens, I'm like, oh, thank God. I'm the only one who thinks so, or, you know, at least someone on this planet besides my husband thinks I'm attractive.
The only thing that always made me insecure was when the four of us would go out and Allison would be the one to get propositioned.
Because she has that innocent school teacher, you know, personality about her.
She's also incredibly indifferent and could give two shits if they're picking up on her or not.
That's true.
And that's a quality that men go, that's really, I'm going to have to work for this. Okay. And they like it.
That's true. When she was single, Allison,
yeah. That's what I mean.
She's like loyal as the day is long, you know? I mean, which is great.
It is.
And we all are. I mean,
are.
who am I fooling? But I will dip my toe in the pool once in a while and let somebody flirt with me. You know, Allison would be like, absolutely not. That's dishonoring my husband. You know?
Like, what? I want to see if I can still get laid.
Don't even have the thought. No, I mean, I know I could get laid, but I mean, you know, like she would shut someone down for flirting with her and I would not.
Oh, you're like, I am a married woman.
Yes.
I know.
Yes. Versus me, I'm like, oh, you're so
and me,
cute.
I'm like, I'm sorry, what?
I'll throw him a smile and be like,
well, he'll do if I ever even notice a guy trying to flirt with me, which does not happen often, I'd be like, I'm sorry, what is
that's
happening?
because you're so effing married.
What's going on?
God.
Well, I'd just be like, really? You're way too young. What are you doing? Look around you. You know, I'm immediately dismissing myself. I'm like, stop it.
Yeah,
go home.
right.
You can be my son. You know,
I know.
That's
yeah, I do have issues taking compliments as well.
I do have this new thing about Harry Styles. He's so fucking cute. You have to look him up.
I hate him wearing pink pumps and like
that's okay.
dresses. It's okay, but is he doing it because he likes it, or is he doing it just because
he's doing because it pisses people off?
It doesn't piss me off. I'm just like, okay, you did it a few times.
Now it's
like,
a thing.
Now quit doing it.
Well, like he wore a leather suit on the Grammys with no shirt underneath. And
that was cute.
Stephanie. And so then, because, you know, I'm TikTok obsessed right now.
Trouble.
It's like strawberry. That's what he's been singing forever.
Oh.
That's his song.
Well, I think of the Taylor Swift song that she wrote about him.
Oh, that too. And that was another thing. It's like, if Taylor Swift can get over Harry Styles, you can get over your ugly fucking normal white boy. Okay?
Who?
Anyone.
Oh. I'm like, wait. What?
Anyone.
Yeah, he really screwed her up.
Yeah, but anyway.
I mean, I can imagine him screwing me up.
He's dating Olivia Munn right now. I mean, Olivia Wilde. Is
she another model?
No, she's an actress and she's really smart and she's like 10 years older than him.
Ew.
Why is that an ew? He's hot.
Because he's hot.
Well, here's the thing though. This humbled me and made me second guess it, but I'm like, no, I still think he's pretty hot. I'm TikTok obsessed.
Yes,
and
I
this
know.
woman probably my age, she gets on and they show the video of him at the Grammys wearing this black suit and he's got abs for days and tats and everything, and he's hairless, so you can see everything.
He is adorable.
He's so fucking cute.
I just feel like guilty for looking at him that way because he's like young enough to be my son.
Yes, and so they're showing then this woman who looks like me sitting in her kitchen. She goes, Harry Styles was born in February of 1994. And I am 50 years old.
So he is young enough to be your son.
It's upsetting to me that I'm looking at him this way because he could be one of my children.
And yet men do this constantly.
Isn't that weird?
Men look at women that are young enough to be their granddaughters.
They're fetuses, Stephanie, and they go, she's hot. I'll do it.
And it makes me angry. I get so mad. I have called Jerry a pedophile. In the midst of arguments. Now, it's been a long time.
I'm Muttley laughing again. Stop it!
I swear to God, I have. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Are you a pedophile? I was like, God, she's like 20. You're like 80.
Do you want to know how good...
Okay. And I wondered why he's so scared of me.
I wonder.
He tiptoes around the house constantly, like, oh God,
Daryl's afraid of me.
Here she comes.
There she goes.
And I guess I have this look on my face of like I'm constantly waiting, like baiting him or something, because he's like,
see, now
what?
I do that too. Like, okay, so Daryl, talk about earworms.
Oh God,
There's this Family Guy episode where
I've not heard that term before, so I'm like, wait, what?
Is this a parasite?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Because you had a bug in your ear one time, and it traumatized me.
Yes. And it was traumatizing to me too.
Oh my God, 'cause it's like my worst fear.
When that happened, and when I got out of that, I said I could never endure any kind of torture, like ever in a million years.
I'm just so shocked and amazed that Mom knew what to do
immediately, and I'm like, how do you know?
I never would have thought of that. I would have been at the emergency room.
It's like, hit it out, backwoods woman. How do you know to jump things in your ear? Like, how do you know that? You just know that?
Wow.
Put peroxide in there and it worked
like a charm. I mean,
and then of course my boyfriend at the time took it out and he murdered it. He's like, and he like killed it.
What'd you want him to do? Set it free?
No, I saw the spit come out of your mouth. I'm just saying.
I stopped it in time.
I saw it. God.
Damn
it. Damn it, I'm not perfect.
We know that.
Anyway.
Here's my awkward moment.
There you go. Spit.
And foam coming off my lip.
So, there is this Family Guy episode where the family goes to Italy for a vacation and they decide to stay there and live, right? You don't watch Family Guy, right?
No.
Okay.
I've
so
seen it,
the
yes,
kids have to go to school in Italy now. And so the stereotype of Italian women is they're sexy, big boobs, whatever.
Right.
So the kids are in class in Italy and the Italian woman is wearing tight white pants and she has a humongous breast and she's like, ra-cha-cha-cha, ra-cha-cha-cha. Okay. No one would know that unless you have watched Family Guy as much as I have, and Daryl now has watched it because, I love it. So for the last week or so, every once in a while, I'll hear him go, ra-cha-cha-cha. And so last night, I'm in the kitchen, I go, I know why you're saying that.
Because he thinks she's sexy?
And he goes, what do you mean? He goes,
it's an animated character.
He goes, no, you don't. And I go,
he knew where you were going.
He goes, where's it from? And I go, it's from the Family Guy Italy episode. And
of course you would know.
I go, it's the big boobed teacher from the class. And he's like, I heard it. And I'm like, she has big tits. Just admit it.
He's not even allowed.
No, he's allowed
to think about an animated character.
Please.
Oh, my
God. I leave this earth before him and I'm young and gorgeous, I told him, I said, I don't care who it is, but I just know that they're going to have big boobs and I'm really okay with that. I'm good with it. And he's just like...
Well, I mean, it's just his thing.
It is.
It's all right.
But that's what was so funny about it. I'm like, the big titted lady? Really?
Daryl will probably feel guilty if you were to get killed by a truck and he would have to live a life of solitude.
He would never.
You don't think?
I wouldn't allow it. I keep implicitly saying, I know because I know myself. I will never get married again. If something were to happen to Daryl, I am not going through that shit again, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to get dick again.
Right.
It just means I'm not going
Especially at this age, yeah.
Well, I definitely want lovers, but I don't want the whole
full-blown...
I don't want dirty underwear that I have to relearn to just not be disgusted by every day. I don't want to deal with someone snoring that is foreign.
Why is it so different for us than it is for them? Because they don't have to do all that?
Men just want to be taken care of.
Yeah.
And I know, I'm generalizing this week, but
Not
it's like
all, yeah,
most men
right.
want to just be taken care of. Even the ones that are super control freaky, they just want someone to care for them in a feminine way. And so... Yeah. That's for them. It's like they're looking for that.
See, I feel like I'd be so devastated emotionally. Like, how could I open my heart up again and be ready to have some new person? I just think
men are looking for a soft place to fall, and I do think they're kind of simple creatures. I think that, their needs being met are very simple. Yeah, because by the
way, the husband is a doctor. Yeah. So he's not a simple person. No. He's highly intelligent.
It's the innate part of it. It's not they're not complex people. It's just that men's innate needs to feel comfort is so simple. It doesn't take, to me, I mean, with Daryl, if I give him a cuddle, because I hate cuddling.
Oh, God.
It's like,
I can't stand it.
He would never admit this, but if I cuddled him every night for a month or blowjobs for a month, he'd pick cuddling. He would never admit it, but it's true.
I believe that. Jerry's literally the same way because he thinks there's something wrong with me. And you know what's sad?
I think most men are that way. I think most men, I mean, unless they're 20 years old going, blowjobs for a month, hell yeah.
But there's women who are like that too because, like, okay, unfortunately for us, he was married before and so was I. I had the same issue when I was married the first time.
I hate cuddling.
I did. But you know what? Thankfully, that first husband wasn't, it was okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It wasn't something that bothered him terribly. Now, Jerry's first wife was apparently a cuddler.
Oh.
Like a diehard cuddler. She was like,
Yeah.
according to him, she was like a fucking backpack. I'm like, well, then you should have stayed married to that fucking backpack because I am not that one.
You know what cuddling is equated to in our house, except for when I actually allow it.
Yeah.
Is our pinkies.
Yeah.
We just hold pinkies. And it's not even every day.
I mean,
it's just sometimes.
I'm trying to think of well, right. I mean, I'll usually get a very strange look of shock if I do anything even remotely resembling cuddling, and I don't
kind of touching.
I don't cuddle. Yeah, like I will put my. I literally put my. Jerry had his arm on the couch, and I like put my arm up, and and our arms were touching.
He's like, this is the most
He
beautiful
was like,
moment.
let me get the camera. Hold on, no.
But that was his attitude.
But he was literally looking at me like, what's wrong? You know, like, what are you
have
doing?
some bad news to share? What's happening?
I mean, in the moment he acknowledges it, I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Don't acknowledge it. You ruined it.
Because it's already kind of weird for me that I'm wanting to do it. And my
Yes.
brain is like sending mixed signals like, why do you want to touch him? What are you doing?
Danger. Yeah. Oh no, and I pee all the time, so I'll get up and
Same.
pee and I'll go back to bed and then I'll just like get comfortable. And if he even gets a notion that I've extended my hand out in any way whatsoever, like he's even like grasped my elbow and be like, and he'll go to sleep. Like they're so deprived of it. But I touch him.
Right.
First of all, I touch him all the time. But in bed, I'm like, this is not the time for that. Unless we're having sex, I don't really want to do
Like,
that.
I'm tired.
I just want to.
And I'm so comfortable, I want to sleep.
Yes, please. And then I'm like, and then he'll touch my arm. And I'm like, really?
He just can't help
But,
himself.
but last week when he had the nightmare, the next night he's like, I'm not touching anything.
He was afraid of himself.
I'm afraid. Yeah. So anyway, all right. Well, that's enough of that.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
That was long. Wow.
Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for supporting the show. Lumi, you can see us on uglytruth.com. There's a little tab there. You can just go right there, and it says Lumi, and then you just go shopping, and you'll love it. I swear, it is absolutely the truth. They are not lying about it. It's really true.
It's really great.
And there's a cute little producer to put a video on there, so you can see the video to see how it all works.
Oh, good.
And
I'll have to check that out.
Of course, follow us on all of our social medias, and it's all Ugly Truth, UGLEE truth.com. Thank you so much. Bye.